What's up, everybody? Chris here from Chris Gates Fitness and the online fitness training camp. Thanks for letting me pop in for a few seconds to tell you about what we got going on in training camp this month. And there's a lot happening, okay? The August program dropped just a few days ago. Everybody's getting into their August workouts, having a blast. The private group is full of discussion and chatter about people getting started, which I love to see. We're going to be doing weekly football pick'em here at the end of the month. That's when that starts. I'm going to be giving away free supplements to people who win that. I'm giving away a treadmill in September because we're doing a step count challenge as a group. All kinds of fun stuff coming, so I hope to see you there. Voice of College Football has a discount code VOICE. You can still get a discount on your first month if you want to jump in. Would love to see you there. Talk to you in training camp.
Girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I like the girls with their nails done. Girls with their
Well, what's going on there, Mountaineer land? I'm Joey Foster. Welcome into the Voice of College Football, West Virginia style. Shane and I wanted to come live with you guys tonight on a pop-up live stream on a Monday night just because we got our ass handed to us on Saturday. What's going on, Shane?
Man, I don't know what to say. Last night, it was like going to a funeral. I mean, it was like getting motivated to put, just get in there and talk about it. It was a little bit therapeutic. I think I woke up and have a little bit better perspective. I still think the Mountaineers took a big dump and it was an opportunity that was missed, but we're going to talk about it tonight and we're going to get into it. And I'm glad to see there's lots of folks in the chat.
Yeah. So, thank you for everybody for tuning in with us because I seen about the time we were going live, I think about 6 other channels went live. So we appreciate all you guys being here with us. And everybody wants to talk about their teams. It's Monday. I didn't get to go live with you guys yesterday, and I apologize about that. I had some trouble with my sound card. I didn't have soundboard. I had no mics that worked. Got that solved today, and I'm back with you. So Shane done a show for us last night. If you haven't watched that yet, be sure and catch that. But Shane went live last night for a little while and talked about the West Virginia game. So be sure you go over and watch that. But I want to give we want to talk a little bit about a couple of programs. Actually, there's a few of them I want to talk about. So on the thumbnail, we've got a picture of West Virginia and Clemson. We talk about the decline of the two programs, right? Clemson's obviously fallen much further down than we have because we haven't won national championships. We haven't won 2 of the last 4 or 5 national championships like they have. But We are a proud program that's used to winning 9, 10, 11 games every single year, and we've been out of that since. We were used to that with Don Nealon. We got even more used to it with Rich Rodriguez. Bill Stewart did a great job. Then we bring in Dana Holgerson, and things started falling apart. All of a sudden we became a 7 or 8 win team under Dana Holgerson. We had a couple of 10-win seasons, a couple of nice seasons. Don't get me wrong. But things started falling off at that point. You knew it. You seen the decline of the program. Neil Brown comes in, tries to fix everything up, apparently, supposedly, or whatever, and we're still not there. Here's what I mean by that. Penn State lost a lot of key players off that team from last year that they beat West Virginia by 22. And this year, they came to Morgantown with new players, and we had pretty much the same team and lost by 23. So there's an obvious something wrong there. I'm not saying that Penn State lost everybody. They had some great returners coming back, but they had lost some key positions, and they replaced them with some outstanding talent. And we lost a couple of people on offensive line. So I can understand some offensive struggles early. Here's the thing about it. The left side of our line is strong. Those are 3 fifth-year seniors over there. The left side of that line is strong. And when we ran left, we had a little bit of success. Jaheim White had a pretty decent game. C.J. Donaldson had a pretty decent game.
Yeah.
Wide receivers, they were getting open.
Yeah.
The offensive line had a pretty decent game. Garrett Green wasn't running for his life on a constant basis back there by any means. Garrett Green had some troubles, guys. And I don't know if it was coaching or if it was Garrett Green, because he looked like he was trying to be Geno Smith back there. Let's
Right.
drop back into the pocket and let's throw the ball down the field, and he didn't seem like the Garrett Green of last year or the last couple of years, really, even when he got in as a backup. He didn't seem like that Garrett Green. That was like seeing. I watched that highlights of that game 3 times. Watched the not the highlights, but the quick version. The 1 hour commercial free and no huddle hours. I watched that thing 3 times. I have seen so many times that it was like Moses came down with a staff and parted the Red Sea, and Penn State opened up, and Garrett Green could have taken off and been the old Garrett Green, and he held back there and tried to throw a pass, or he scrambled around back there to get away from everybody, trying to find somebody open down the field. I don't know if the coaches have told him, "Hey, we need to make you more of a passer," and if they did, then they need to stop that crap. That you don't coach a player like Garrett Green to do that stuff, because he's not Geno Smith. He's not Major Harris either, guys. Major Harris could drop back there and throw that pass down the field too. But this is not Garrett. This is not Major Harris here. This is Garrett Green. Let Garrett Green be Garrett. Not Pat White. He's not Major Harris. He's somewhere in between, somewhere in the middle. He's a good passer, but obviously his strength is getting out of trouble and running that damn ball. And I don't know. Do you think it was a mindset? Shane, I'm asking you. Do you think it was a mindset of Garrett Green in it, or do you think it?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Stephen made a great comment. They did have a spy on him. Okay, but there were still opportunities. I think. Okay, going back to last year, if you look at the past, let's just say 12 months, beginning of last season, he had a lot of the same struggles he had in this game. However, as the season progressed, they simplified things, and it was more of a reactive, this is what I'm doing. Didn't think about it, just reacted. Athleticism, made plays. It seemed like there was some hesitation, nerves, combination of all that. He just played like doo-doo. And I think this is something that they can overcome. And I have a positive outlook. I'm optimistic because last year he got better. Okay. Now mind you, you had Nico come in and do well for those 2 games. So will he lose his job if he loses it to Pitt? And I want to talk about that later, how important that Pitt game is. And because of this type of loss in this big game atmosphere on national television, I mean, they're going to have some hurt boo-boo kitty feelings on that team, and it might affect their confidence when a hungry Pitt team that struggled with Kent State comes in and wants to knock the shit out of West Virginia. The Mountaineers better watch out.
Yeah. So David says, I think West Virginia. I don't think West Virginia's been ranked since 2011. That's not true. West Virginia. I had to remember the numbers. I think it was either 17 of 18 or 18 of 19 of the past years. Before
They
Neil
popped
Brown
in
got there.
last year. They popped in sometime like in the top 25 and then fell out. So
We finished out in the top 25 too. We finished out in the top 25 in most polls. So, but yeah, we've been a top 25 team. Like, I don't remember if it was 16 or 17, 17 of 18, 18 of 19 years before Neil Brown that we were a top 25 team every single year. So, yeah, no, there's no need in even thinking that we wasn't a top 25 team since 2011. We have been a top 25 team. Matter of fact, in 2018, at one time we were ranked 7th. So,
yeah. So, David, let's talk about some of these comments. So, Richard Soul says, just the first game, a lot of hype, a lot of nerves. I thought it was nerves. And, there are some pivotal points in a game that the game can turn. For the Clemson West Virginia game 10 years ago or whatever, it was that long interception return. It just broke the back. That fumble, those 2 fumbles, botched snaps, whatever you want to call it. I'm not placing blame on the center. I think it was more of a Garrett Green thing. Mm-hmm. But guys, once that mojo, the stadium, the air came out of the stadium. If you were there, it was electric, and it just was deafening the silence after that turnover. Also, a thing that kind of slowed the game, every few minutes they would stop for a TV timeout. They also, when they didn't stop for a TV timeout, they stopped to look at calls that should have been made on the field. That was really disruptive. And then you had the weather delay. Not making excuses; these are observations.
Yeah, that's an observation and an excuse too. It sounds like, and I can't buy that excuse or observation. And here's why: if this game was at Penn State like it was last year, they had them same problems. They had TV timeouts. They had replays. I mean, so you can't.
It seemed to pause a lot. With the reviews. A lot of reviews of plays that really didn't need reviewed. They were very cautious. There were some calls like, the helmet came off, like the guy got clotheslined. I think it was Jaheim White got clotheslined. Now, everybody's going to be screaming and bitching and moaning, but there were opportunities to make plays, and there were calls that went for West Virginia that should have went to Penn State. So, the officiating was a little bit like you didn't know what was going to happen. I don't know. It was not an enjoyable game to watch.
That officiating was shit. Bottom line,
it was terrible.
It was one of the worst officiated games I'd ever seen. I mean, Penn State didn't get a touchdown on that first touchdown. That was not a touchdown. Sorry, Penn State. West Virginia didn't get a first down when they called the first down. We were short. We were a full yard short.
And West Virginia got that touchdown where he did not. The ball didn't cross the plane, but they called a touchdown on the previous call on the field. They say there wasn't enough evidence to overturn it. I disagree. I could see it on the screen.
Yeah.
What's Steven say?
Bottom line, Penn State, much better team. Congratulations to Penn State. Hats off to Penn State. Hats off to James Franklin. This was a game James Franklin had to win. If he would have lost this game, oh my God, the Penn State fans would have been all over him, and his days would have been numbered at Penn State. Really, seriously. It's one thing to lose to Ohio State, Michigan, but to come into Morgantown, West Virginia, and lose to an old rival that's on national TV and a big hype on this game. This game was hyped up as much as Penn State and Ohio State or Penn State, Michigan. This game was just as big in that area. It really was.
Yeah.
So, hats off to them. They came in. They took care of business. They did their job. Hats off to them. Now, two other we can talk about West Virginia all night long, and I'm going to talk about West Virginia all night long because this is West Virginia Channel. But two other programs that are not doing what they normally do. So we know West Virginia is one of the top 15 programs in the country when it comes to total wins and winning percentages and all this crap. And we know we're a top 25 team pretty much consistent basis except for the last few years. Them last few years, what I want to talk about, we're in a decline. We're dropping. We was hoping for a climb this year, and we can't judge it by one game. Look, last year Penn State beat us by 22, and we had a 9-win season. This year they beat us by 23. Can we have another 9-win season, 10-win season? But the other two programs that have been on top of the world, they've won national championships. They've been there.
2018.
Miami and Florida, two teams that are just not Miami, Florida and Clemson, just two teams that are just in a big dive. So Miami goes in and just absolutely annihilates Florida. It was so lopsided. I watched it, and so I watched the game, or bits and pieces of it, and went back and watched the hour-long, the 50-minute or whatever, where they take out all the commercials and take out all the huddles and stuff. I watched that, and then I watched the highlights of that game because there were 45 highlights on that game. There were 45 highlights between Miami and Florida. 42 of them were Miami.
Oh, absolutely.
42 of them were Miami. You are a Florida team that had 3 highlights on a highlight reel in a game. And one of those was a 12-yard pass. I mean, come on. So it's just this absolutely. Miami is really good. We told you this before the season started. We picked Miami to win the ACC. Yeah. I told you Miami's really good. Miami went in there and handled their crap. I've also been saying Clemson is down this year. Dabo Swinney's not working that pro portal. He's not replacing players right. Players don't want to play for him. He don't embrace NIL. He don't embrace the portal. None of that. So that got proved right too when Georgia handed them probably the worst loss they've had since West Virginia.
At least we got that stuff right in the offseason. Talking about Miami, thinking Miami was legit this year. They showed it, and it's not a case of Florida being that bad. They are not great, but they're still a good program. I think Miami is fantastic, guys. We say it on the show. They're a good program. They're a good team this year. Clemson, Joey, you had mentioned it. We thought they would lay an egg against Georgia, but they laid a bigger egg than the Mountaineers did. And that program was sitting at a higher point on the ladder. They had a little further to fall. But I think West Virginia looks to be in better shape moving forward in the season than Clemson. I think Clemson loses 5 games. So.
Now, here's a bright spot. If there's a bright spot, let me give everybody a bright spot for West Virginia here.
Yeah.
Special teams. We were ranked 125th in the country last year on special teams defense. We only had 2 touchbacks. There was 3 touchdowns. There were 3 plays returned for touchdowns against our special teams last year. Our special teams look good, and Neil Brown alluded to that today too.
Yeah.
Our special teams, that was the best part of the game was our special teams. Our special teams did a good job. I'm proud of our special teams. So there was improvement there. Now, another thing that's an improvement. Not for us, for Penn State. They've actually got an offensive coordinator now. They have a real offensive coordinator, and they didn't drop off on defense, not one bit with a new defensive coordinator. None whatsoever. They shut down West Virginia, and it was like they were in our huddle. If you watch the game, it was like they were in our huddle. They knew what we were going to do, and we were outcoached. Period. We were outcoached. Whether that was the coordinators outcoaching the other coordinators, or head coaches outcoaching other head coaches, or all of the above, we were outcoached and outmanned in that game. It's one thing to be outmanned because you can get some leverage sometimes. You got a bigger guy up against you, he's beating you every time. Guess what? You change your leverage a little bit and we push him around a little bit, right? You can do that stuff. A good coach will teach a player how to do that. When you're out coached in a game, there's not a lot of hope for you. And we were out coached in all aspects of that game except for special things.
Yeah, the pad level too looked kind of suspect. I mean, the Penn State players are getting low, and it was showing. moving guys around. It's not about athleticism; it's about pad level. And I was really surprised that Penn State does have 5-star athletes, but it should have been closer. Now you look back, things probably could have stayed a lot closer if that first fumble recovery turned out to be 7 points. But ifs, ands, buts, and coconuts.
So let's go back to the game for a second. I'm gonna tell you what I think about West Virginia got down, and it was 4th and 1. We could have kicked the field goal, right? Been ahead 3-0, kick the field goal, be the first one on the board, but we went for it. Now I know Neil Brown's thinking there was he's thinking back to the Pitt game a couple years ago. We didn't go for it on 4th and inches, and then he got ridiculed for it. This was not Penn State. That was not Penn State we were playing. That was Pitt. We're playing Penn State. We're playing the number 1 defensive team in the country in most categories, right? I mean, they got an amazing defense. I felt like we needed to take those points. We needed to get them points. Do you agree with that, Shane, or do you think going for it was the right call?
Well, during the game, I thought, he's rolling with it. Give him some credit, but that was Shane as a fan. If you're practical and playing the numbers and being logical like a coach should, you take that, because even if they, it makes it a 1-score game. Now, that being said, I think the biggest thing in the first half, they played like doo-doo, but with 6 seconds left, you can't let them score a touchdown. It's to go into the half 20. That's have 20 points then, instead of just being 1 score, it's 2 scores.
Yeah. And so the bottom line, West Virginia, when we put that thumbnail up today, and I asked Shane to make that thumbnail for us to put it up, West Virginia Clemson, and he came up with the idea of putting the stock market decline, on there. And that's great, because both programs are in decline. West Virginia's been on that decline for quite a number of years. We came out of it last year and won 9 games, only 8 games in season, and then won our bowl game against a very depleted North Carolina game. And I know West Virginia fans don't want to hear that, but come on, guys. They were very depleted. They had so many people set out that it wasn't even funny. So we beat a very depleted North Carolina team. And the Big 12 was a little bit weak last year. I mean, Texas Tech, TCU, we beat those teams, but they didn't have anything. They, especially Texas Tech, who came in preseason, one of the preseason favorites in the Big 12, and just lost 3 of their first 4 games. It was horrible. Texas Tech was terrible. So West Virginia beat a depleted Big 12 conference last year, and ended up finishing 4th. Did we make progress, or have we progressed? I don't know. I felt like going into the season that this could be the best team we had since 2007 or something like that. I compared it to the 2005 team. I didn't think it was as good as 2007, but I felt like we might be 2005 good.
Yeah.
That's what I had been saying.
Well,
What I seen the other day, oh no, Garrett Green, he looked like he Lord, I don't want to say it, but I'm going to. He looked like he had something where it was just like there was a wall in front of him, and it felt like he couldn't move forward. It was like, let's always run backwards and always run across the field, but never go down the field. If I got to scramble, I'm not scrambling to make yards. I'm scrambling to get out of trouble to look for a pass down the field. That's what he was doing. And he can't do that. That's not Garrett Green. Garrett Green needs to just say, okay, it's breaking down around me here. Let me take off, because, like I said, the Red Seas were parted.
Well, I'm going to defend Garrett Green a little bit, okay? He made that mistake with the snap, okay? But, it gets to a point where the pressure, not the pressure on him as a quarterback, but he tries to make more things happen and force more things, and it's not there. That's where the coaches have to come in and make a change or two. Not at quarterback, but they have to know exactly, be able to, get the pulse of the game, read a little bit better, and do a better job. They had a lot of time to to figure things out. Now, are you going to come back from 2 touchdowns against number 8 team in the nation? Doubtful. But can you make it a little bit more respectable? Yeah. Steve said West Virginia had no pass rush. They were flat in just about every aspect. As Joey mentioned, special teams look good. But, that's like finding the prettiest pig in a pig farm. Okay? It's not, come on. But I think they need to kind of simplify things. Just have Garrett do the basics. They're going to run the ball. Albany, they're going to be able to work out a few kinks. It's like Albany's a good team. Didn't they play North Dakota State in the championship last year?
Yeah, it wasn't in the championship. No, they got beat, but it was just in the semifinals.
Yeah,
they didn't make it to the championship.
So it's not like
the team that beat them, right? The team that beat them won the national championship. So
and the team that beat them played Colorado close until the last quarter, guys. So we're talking about a team that could give West Virginia a black eye, and that's a black eye they won't recover from, because right now the team has hurt kitty feelings, boo-boo kitty feelings, and you need to get a little bit of swagger before you roll into Pittsburgh to play the Panthers. And I'm going to talk about the Panthers. It's so important, guys. You will not.
West Virginia loses. If West Virginia was to lose to Albany, hell, they don't even have to lose to Albany. If the final score is 34-33, Neil Brown's in trouble. Neil Brown's in trouble, not just with the university. He's in trouble with the fan base. He will lose.
Yeah, you're going to lose it. The fans were loving him. When he was on Pat McAfee's show, you felt the love. They're buying it, but you're not only going to lose that. Look at the recruits you're going to lose. They had 50 recruits. When I looked down, I talked about this last night. When I looked down from my seats in section 131, I saw a sea of young studs, guys that look like they can ball out. And I'll tell you what, even with that loss, they're going to want to come to Morgantown because of the experience. It was electric. It was fantastic. But you lose to Albany, you lose to Pitt, that shine goes away. Those kids sign elsewhere. That's the bottom line.
So I'm going to drop a link. If anybody likes to come in, I don't care what team you're a fan of or who you pull for. Come in here and we can talk about your team, our team, Miami, Clemson, whoever you want to talk about. Jump on in here with us and we can talk about it a little bit. I don't want to have a lot of people on the panel, but if you'd like to come in and just say something, hey, that'd be great. Or hang out with us if we don't have anybody else doing the show. That's fine too. We enjoy having you guys on here with us. Now, go back to what we were talking about with the Florida program and the Clemson program on a decline. I told somebody the other day that happens to be a Big Ten guy. I told him, I said, well, look what Georgia did to Clemson. Okay, West Virginia lost to Penn State, but Penn State's not been up there like Clemson has the last 2 years. Clemson is supposed to be on top of the mountain, right? We're supposed to be trusting a climb here. Now, mind you, we were saying that the climb is here, the climb is now, and we have reached that peak. We've got to do something this year. And we didn't. We stumbled back down the mountain a little bit. Clemson was at the friggin' top of this mountain.
Yeah.
And they have stumbled so far that they lost to a Georgia team. Mind you, a very, very good Georgia team that I picked to win the national championship. But at the same time, this Georgia team is not much different than that Penn State team. There's not a lot of difference. So West Virginia and Clemson right now, I think West Virginia would beat Clemson. So that
absolutely. Now that's I think that would happen too. Now I want to share this with you, and before we get Will on here, Clemson right now is in the midst of all this conference realignment. It's one of the catalysts. It's supposed to be that gold nugget that's better than the ACC. And at this point, they look like they're a mediocre team in a mediocre conference. And that's not good for conference realignment. They're going to end up not getting, their value has dropped considerably. In my opinion, they're still a valuable program. But I'm going to ask Will, ND, when he comes in, what he thinks.
Yeah, because I want to point out something else too before we bring Will in. last year, Florida State not making the playoffs as an undefeated team out of the ACC was not a good look for the ACC. And then the ACC has just they laid an egg the whole year so far. I mean, look, Florida State went to
Miami.
Ireland. They flew to Ireland to get their ass beat
Yeah.
by Georgia Tech, right? Clemson lays an egg the other day, and Georgia just goes in there and just blows them out. The ACC is not looking good right now. One team is looking good out of the ACC, and that's Miami. And there's an independent team that plays some football in the ACC, and they played Texas A&M the other night and won. Congratulations on that.
So,
Mr. Will indeed joins us, our Notre Dame guy. What's going
Thanks.
on, Will?
Thanks for having me on, guys. I was pulling for the Mountaineers, but I still think WVU can have a strong season. And I mean, if everything goes south, I think you guys can get a better coach. So I mean, it's not a win-win, but
Yeah, I think Neil Brown's a good coach. I think his problem is, and I've said this for a couple of years. This isn't nothing new. He likes his buddies. So Jordan Leslie is his buddy, right? And Jordan Leslie's our defensive coordinator. Chad Scott is his buddy. Chad Scott's our offensive coordinator. Here's the problem: nobody knows, even to this day, who Chad Scott and Jordan Leslie are. I mean, if you ask a normal college football fan, hell, you could ask a lot of people that do podcasts. Who's the defensive coordinator for West Virginia? They can't name him. Who's the offensive coordinator? They can't name him. So he's got his buddies in there, and I'm not saying they do a bad job, because obviously they won 9 games last year, so they've done something right. But what are they going to do this year? Because last year has no reflection of that, and we lost worse to Penn State this year, off a team that lost so many players to the NFL and graduation. Penn State lost a lot of people. West Virginia didn't lose anybody, and we still got our ass handed to us. And the thing about it was, last year was a home game for them. This year was a home game for us, and a biggest hype game since 1998, when we got our ass blown out by Ohio State. So I'm trying to figure out, where are we going here? We've got to turn a corner, and Neil Brown might have to either suck it up and find a good defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator. And I'm not saying they're bad. Don't get me wrong. I like Chad Scott. I really like Chad Scott, our offensive coordinator. I think he's great. I think he's one of the best running back coaches in the country. That's what he is. He's a running back coach. He's not an offensive coordinator. So, that I just think that he's got to get away from this. Hey, you're my buddy. You're my friend. I'm going to keep you on with me as long as it takes. They have to produce, right? Bottom line. I think Neil Brown, he's making the calls on the field. Neil Brown made a boneheaded call, I felt like, when he didn't kick the field goal when he went for it on 4th and 1. But I know his reasoning behind doing it, because you're not going to get a lot of chances against Penn State. You're down there, you're 4th and 1. It's time to go for it. It's time to muster it up. It's time to put it in there. Problem is, the offense wasn't ready to do that. They couldn't block Penn State, and we lost friggin' yardage. So, and it was 4th and 1, and we didn't get to try the field goal there. So we might as well took the point.
I think you got to throw there on that 4th and 1. Either throw there or take the points, not run it up the gut against a bigger line.
Exactly. The next time it's 4th and 1, and we try to do it again, and we get a tush push. I have never seen the tush push fail so miserably as it did in that game. West Virginia, on that tush push, you have 4 guys back. You have a center, and you have 2 guards, right? There's 3, and then you have the quarterback with the ball, and you got 2 running backs pushing him. So there's 5 guys there pushing against 3 guys for Penn State, and we got pushed backwards. That is bad. That's bad. And I don't think it's on our strength and conditioning coach, because our strength and conditioning coach has been there for years.
Yeah, it's pad
And
level.
we never had that problem.
Guys, there's going to be a lot of football to play, and I look at next week, and we'll get to know a little bit of who's who with the schedule coming up. You got some really good games coming up. Clemson will play App State, which you're going to realize if Clemson really took the tubes, or was it just a bad?
I think that their D line and their O line looks better. That's the one positive for Clemson. Their O line looks better, and their D line should just destroy App. So we'll see.
That's the thing about Clemson. Yeah, they're known for their defense. They got a defense, but Clemson as a team, I thought, just looked bad against Georgia, like West Virginia did against Penn State.
Yeah.
In my opinion, if Clemson and West Virginia play tomorrow, West Virginia's going to win that game. I thought Clemson was just that much worse. I just thought they looked that much worse. And I don't think there's a big drop-off between Georgia and Penn State, to be honest with you. Now, I think Georgia would beat Penn State, but I don't think there's much of a drop-off. It would be a 34-31 game or something like that, It would just be really close and crazy. But that game the other day, I don't know. And look, we can say first game jitters, right? Mm-hmm. We can say Garrett Green just wasn't ready to play. There was a lot of hype. You got to remember, the day before that game, and Shane alluded to this earlier on the phone with me, Garrett Green should have been on the Pat McAfee show and hyping this game up and, Garrett for Heisman and all this stuff. That shit shouldn't have been happening to Garrett Green. He's a good quarterback, and he's a mature quarterback. He's a senior, but he's still a young quarterback because it's only his second year. Mm-hmm. And you're throwing this stuff at him and saying, Garrett Heisman, and you got Pat McAfee show and 2 million people watching this saying, oh, Garrett Green for Heisman Trophy, yeah. I mean, I don't think Garrett was ready to handle that, and he didn't play like he was ready to handle it. He just looked like a lost quarterback back there.
The moment was too big.
It was.
That's a great way to say it. No, we'll see exactly where Penn State fits in the mix when the next week's Fox, prime time noon kickoff game is going to be Texas at Michigan, guys, and we'll see how Texas is. They haven't played an SEC game yet, but they're going to start. They're going to start their big boy, their time with the big boy table playing Michigan at Michigan. So that's one I'm going to be watching.
Let me point something out. Traveling Fools out there said, "No laughing allowed at Will and D." Well, okay, so he's laughing at West Virginia. How many years did he laugh at
every time TF comes on a show, I just start laughing for some reason. So that's why
every time you laugh at Miami over the last several years, Will. I mean, Miami was a laughing stock, but Miami's got a team this year.
We
all knew it.
We were supposed to play Miami this season, but Miami took us off their schedule, and I'm just bummed about that. Watching them play, I'm like, oh, I want to play Miami, but.
Did they take you off? I thought y'all.
Yeah, they took us off this season.
Took them off.
I thought Notre Dame
took them off. We took them off in the 90s, but we were supposed to play them this season in the second to last game of the year, but they took us off.
So I want to ask you, where do you think they're accurately ranked? Notre Dame at 7.
Yeah, I think the team will improve as the season goes on. I don't think we're there yet. Especially, I just think that Riley missing the spring hurt. The connection between him and the receivers. That's why there wasn't much downfield passing from Notre Dame. Also, their D-line was good and caused us some problems.
I think their schedule's favorable. I mean, you have Georgia Tech looks a little bit more daunting. Navy looks like you can handle Navy. Florida State's still going to be a struggle.
I think if we load the box on DJ, I think we'll win. If we just load the box and get to him, because he can't. He's not great.
I'll do this right here. I got to do something right here real quick because it just dawned on me. I got to do this.
Okay.
So, Mr. Tim Prangley, Mr. Tony Altamore, you guys. USC may be back. They looked pretty damn good last night.
Yes, sir.
They're definitely our toughest game on the schedule.
That's what I was getting to. Yep, that's what I was getting to. Last game, that USC game, Sharpie, highlight, crayon. Yeah. Don't eat the crayon. Use it to circle it. But it's going to be a hell of a game. I mean, hell, last year Army gave you guys a run, didn't they?
Army?
Was it Army? Who did they play close last year?
No, that wasn't Army. I know who you're talking about. Notre Dame. Was it Arkansas? Maybe it was Arkansas. No, it wasn't Arkansas. Jesus, y'all
There was a
played
game
somebody
that
close
was like,
last year.
wow,
You
I can't believe that was that close. But anyways,
Mhm.
Anyway, um, Gutters Pub in here. She says football sucks, but you should have been included in there. Football sucks, but I'm giving Joey a thumbs up. Come on, Gutters, give me a thumbs up anyway. Love you. Gutters Pub is my co-host on my trivia over here, and also she's in the network for topqualityshirts.com. Be sure and go over there if you like to get some merchandise, whether it's well, we don't have Notre Dame merchandise because I haven't created that yet. I got to create the Notre Dame merchandise, but we do have West Virginia, USC, all these others. We got the Boise College football is in there. Gutters Pub is in there. Traveling Fools is in there. Big BC Live. I mean, we've got a lot of content creators in this store, and it's growing. It's getting big. It's getting huge. Go over there. We sell nothing but quality product. You might pay a little bit more for a T-shirt, but remember, in the cost of that shirt, there's no shipping. The shipping's already in there. So when you see a T-shirt and you say, "Oh my God, it's $29 for a T-shirt," I can go over here and get this T-shirt from this content creator for $22. That T-shirt's a Gildan 3000 shirt. Okay, it's like you wash it one time, it's going to shrink 3 sizes. Our T-shirts are quality. We carry only the best, the best that we can find, that we can carry. That's what we carry for you guys. All of our merchandise. We got Spalding, we got Under Armour, we've got Adidas. Everything is top quality. So, topqualityshirts.com and go over there and get your merchandise for the Voice of College Football. All right, now back to the show. Anyway, sorry, I had to plug that a second.
Well, Mike Campbell, he's telling us that Gigi didn't have any confidence before the game. If you didn't have it before the game, Gigi's not going to have any confidence after that game.
Yeah, maybe the only strong point of that is that we do play Albany next. But like we said, Albany's a good team. Albany was in the semifinals last year of Division I AA, and so hey, they got guess what Albany has that nobody knows? They got scholarship players. Guess what else they got? They got NIL, so they got players. Right? Albany's got some players, so don't think Albany's going to come in here and bow down. It's all over the whole state of New York and all of Albany and all that up there. Hey, this is the biggest game in their history. Coming to Morgantown and playing West Virginia is the biggest game in the history of that program. And that program is fired up and excited and ready to go. So don't overlook this Albany team, and this West Virginia team better not overlook them. It could be what year did y'all lose to Michigan lose to App State?
2007.
2007, yeah. So it could be 2007 again, all over. Watch it. Texas A&M lost to App State too, or Liberty, and Arkansas lost to App State. Texas A&M lost to Liberty. You gotta watch some of these lower tier programs and stuff because, hey.
I mean, you guys beat JMU when they were in the FCS upper tier with Neil Brown, so I mean they should get the job done.
Yeah, they don't usually choke like Pitt does against these schools, but still, I don't want to overlook.
As a matter of fact, didn't James Madison? I think James Madison finished like 25th in the country that year. Their only loss was to us, I believe.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to overlook them. Don't y'all overlook them because hey, they're Albany can be a feisty team, and they're going to come in there and they're going to have a chip on their shoulder, like we always say when we play other teams. We got a chip on our shoulder. We think we're better. They think we're better. So you gotta be ready to play. I don't care who you are. Every week you gotta be ready to play. I don't care if you're Georgia. I don't care. It don't make a difference. If you're not ready to play, it's going to show up, and you might win the game against a team like Albany, but it's going to show up that hey, you wasn't ready to play that game, and then you're going to be on the treadmills and doing all kinds of damn suicides and everything else out there on the field the next day of practice. So you might as well play. But anyway, all right. So I'm trying to read some chat over here. I had sent Dave Brown, who's a Louisville fan.
Dave, love Dave.
The link to come in. I wanted to hear from Dave simply because of ACC and Miami and how good they look. You know,
Now this is
where
the
he
year.
got
If the ACC looks to be, there's Penn State looks fallible. They've already lost an in-conference game to Georgia Tech.
Who?
Sorry, not Penn State. Florida State. I have Penn State on the freaking brain. Florida State lost to Georgia Tech, so that leaves it open. Miami's going to be, they have a favorable schedule. I'm hoping Miami can pull it off, even if they go 11-1. They're getting into playoffs.
I could see this is just a hot take. Maybe this is a bad hot take that I have. But if Clemson somehow gets into that championship game against Miami, and it'll be in Charlotte, which is a home field for Clemson, Florida ran the ball decent. That's the only thing they did well. And Clemson can just put Maffa in there. Maybe there could be 2 ACC teams get in.
Right.
If Miami.
Hey, Will, did you see what I said earlier about the highlight film? So you got YouTube TV by chance?
I have Verizon here.
All right, on YouTube TV, if you record the games, which I record every game, you can go back and watch highlights of that game. They got like a highlight section. There were 45 highlights of the Miami-Florida game. 42 of those were Miami. 3 highlights for Florida. One of those was a 12-yard pass. So it's like, and Florida didn't have much. I mean, Miami just looked dominant that game. Same way with Georgia over Clemson. They looked dominant. Same with Penn State over West Virginia. They looked dominant, which takes me back to the basis of this stream. West Virginia, Clemson, and Florida, 3 programs. 2 of those have been way on top, winning national championships. West Virginia is not used to losing like they have the last several years. Even though we won 9 last year, it's still not. We're still not back. We're still not ready to go yet. It showed.
You want to hear a highlight from that we didn't talk about? And I know this is kind of strange, but I really enjoyed when I did watch the Penn State West Virginia game again. I like the way Fox has their camera angles.
Yeah, they're the best. They have the best broadcast.
They are spot on, a 5 out of 5, where some ESPN games are like 2 or 3 out of a 5. So they produce a fantastic product. I don't really like the commentators.
I like Joel. Joel's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand why you wouldn't like Gus, but I think Joel's the best.
Yeah, they're all right. I mean, they're not as dynamic as I'm huge. I like Pat McAfee a lot. I like old Pat Mac. But, the camera angles looks really good. It's crisp. You're getting that HD. But I don't know. I'm going down a rabbit hole, but I just want to say
Here's one thing I will promise you, and then I'll be right back. You guys keep the stream going, but I will promise you this much: you'll never see Pat McAfee as the play-by-play announcer on a West Virginia game during a television broadcast, because he would be so fired up for West Virginia that So, all right, I'll be right back. Y'all go ahead.
Yeah, he'll be talking about downtown and Club Z and all that. He's never going to be a play-by-play for ESPN. And for every right, he shouldn't be, because he's making too much bank doing what he does. And we have to give him some love for donating $1 million to the NIL fund for the Mountaineers. And, alum like that are going to make it that much easier to recruit talent into the program. But talking about talented programs, Notre Dame, I look at the schedule, and beginning of the season, I didn't think USC was going to be quite as formidable. So I thought, okay, Notre Dame, winnable. I was going through the schedule. That last game, that could be, that could really hinder if they lose that game and they lose bad. Do you think they could fall out of the top 12?
If we go in 11-0, which we should, like Marcus should, like there shouldn't be any trap games. Like we don't have that many like tough games on the schedule like we did last year. So we shouldn't be like trapped into a game like Louisville. Like Louisville, which is we had a tough game against Ohio State, tough game against Duke, and the guys just had no energy for that Louisville game. And
you got Louisville again
for it, and they kicked our butt.
Yeah, so, you got Louisville on there again. Maybe a little bit of redemption for the Fighting Irish.
For sure, it's a night game too, so it'll be
fun.
Yeah.
So, just checking the score of the Florida State game, it doesn't look like there's a score yet, and they're into the first quarter. Boston College has the ball, but Florida State's still ranked. Do you think they're still going to be ranked next week
Well,
if they don't
they
beat
get
the
by
drums
Boston
off and
College,
breaks off of Boston College?
but they should get by Boston College. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, Boston College is not Georgia Tech by far. So they should get by Boston College pretty easy, I would hope. But if they don't get by Boston College, they'll be lucky to be ranked in the top 50 next week, to be honest.
Keep chopping Big Ten. Love your comments. A lot of fun to read. He says Albany and Pitt are about the same these days, and I would say they're about at the same spot. I think Pitt's a little bit better, but Pitt has some troubles against Kent State. I think I'm just hoping the Mountaineers iron out the kinks through week 2 and week 3, and are ready to play some big time football against Jalen Daniels and Kansas. Because I have a friend coming in from East Lansing, to watch the Mountaineers, and I'd like to see that us, watch them sing country roads.
Yeah.
Do you guys think this is Narduzzi's last year at Pitt?
If he doesn't have any better season, I think so. I really do. If
Really?
he doesn't do any better, and especially if you look at the landscape of the ACC and in week 1, right? He didn't do very good. The ACC just didn't do very good. So a team like Pitt, in my opinion, Pitt's probably should be a top 5 team in the ACC every single year. They really should.
They have money, lots of money,
and they're not. They're just not. So yeah, I think it could be Pat Narduzzi's last year, and especially if they lose to West Virginia again. 2 years of losing West Virginia in the backyard brawl would probably pretty much do it for him. And I got news for him: they're going to lose that game. They're going to lose that game. There's no doubt about it. And I can guarantee you this much too. We was talking about it a while ago. After next week, when West Virginia blows Albany away 55-3 or whatever it might be, and we're going into Pittsburgh to Akashire Stadium, Pat McAfee's going to be on the radio and on ESPN talking about, hey, Penn State came in there and they smacked us in the mouth. But guess what? We're back. We're back. We're going to go in there and we're going to beat the hell out of Penn State. We're going to beat out of Pitt. We're going to beat the hell out of Pitt. Pitt ain't going to have a chance. I can hear that. So, and I believe that too. I think we're a much better team than Pitt is right now. And I believe that losing 2 years in a row to West Virginia in the backyard brawl would be too much for the Pitt alumni and the Pitt faithful, the old school guys. I'm not talking about the old school guys that have the money that are supporting that program. They're going to say, hey, wait a minute. No, wait. We should be a better program in West Virginia.
Well,
Or we should be at least on the same level.
If Pitt is a lot like Miami. There's money there. When they're doing well, the community and the fan base throw all they have into that program. They're there. They're on. It's kind of like the bandwagon, but the people around here, big Pitt fans if they're winning, But it's when they're terrible, not so much. Where Mountaineer fans, doesn't matter how bad they are or how good they are, the fan base is there. But Miami, they're going to start winning. And those pocketbooks are deep. They're going to start getting a little bit more money. Now, mind you, I wish the Big 12 was trying. They can't really work any deals, but I would love to have seen Miami be brought up a little bit instead of UConn is coming on board to the Big 12, because after this season, you're going to have to cut a little bit bigger of a slice of the pie to get those cats. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, I just wanted to come on live with you guys tonight, just hang out for a few minutes, talk about this game because we hadn't done it before. I do want to go watch the Florida State Boston College game. I'm sure a lot of you guys do too. Yeah. I will tell you this: Pigskin Pete is live streaming it over on his channel. So just letting you know, if you want to go to Pigskin Pete, and he's going to live streaming that game over there. So it should be a lot of fun. I'm probably gonna go over and hang out and watch it on TV and just hang out there with Pete for a little while. So, but anyway, Will, you got any final words? Tell everybody where to find you at, and tell everybody about what you do over here on the Voice of College Football, because you do a lot over here too.
Just Brian. Like, I hate Brian Kelly. Like Joey hates Dana. So that press conference from Brian Kelly, seeing him freak out, have a little temper tantrum, made my weekend even better than it
Did he
was.
look like when he was on the sideline over there, and USC would like scored that last touchdown? Did it look like he was going to just like sit there and cry? Like he just wanted to just like it looked like he wanted to just cuss out his mom, right? It looked like he wanted to cuss out his mother and blame her for that. You know, he was so damn pissed that you could just see it in his eyes. And I almost felt sorry for the man, but then I remembered how much Will hates him.
So yeah, just me and my pal Jeffrey, we have a show that we do every week, and we're gonna be doing it on Tuesday night. So our little college football show we do. So if anyone in the chat wants to pop in, just say hi. We would appreciate that.
What time do you do that?
We generally do it around 10 p.m.
Oh, cool. Yeah. We do our show at 8 o'clock. So.
Well, I'm pretty sure you're a mod. So post your link in the chat if you're not a mod.
Yeah, I'll post my link.
I'm pretty sure you're a mod, but I'll mod you up if you're not. And so Shane does a show for us right here on Tuesday night to tomorrow night, and he'll be live from here from 8 to 9. Then he goes live on his channel from 9 to 10. So Shane, tell everybody what you got going on tomorrow night.
Well, tomorrow night we're going to be talking a little bit about week 2. We're going to just we're going to rinse and forget, wash, rinse and forget the stains, the tears, the whatever needs to be washed away, and we're going to look forward to next week. We're going to talk about what's coming up for the Mountaineers. I'm going to talk about some games I'm interested in watching. You know, what I would like to watch on TV, and also get some interaction from the fans. So that's what we're talking about. And Tim Green's back.
Timothy was in here tonight. Nice to see him again. How do you spell "Let's Go Mountaineers"? We'll get them next week. That's for sure. Hopefully we can handle Albany. Hopefully, but like I said,
do you think that Nico can get some time?
If Garrett Green plays like he did this past week, there's no doubt. I know Nico's going to get some time in this game. Don't get me wrong. Nico's going to get some time in this game one way or the other. Either we're going to be losing and need some fire under our ass and Nico's going to get in, or we're going to be winning big and Nico's going to get in, right? So Nico's going to get in. What I'm anxious to see is Nico. Wonder how Nico would have done the other day with the pressure. I think Garrett Green's a better quarterback at this moment, at this time, right? I just feel like Garrett Green's the best quarterback. But at the same time, he let that pressure get to him. So I'm kind of wondering, should we have put Nico in after halftime? What did we have to lose at that point? Throw Nico in there and see if we can get a spark and get it going.
Yeah, but what's that do to Garrett Green's psyche? I mean, that would really crush him. So that's the problem.
What I was going to allude to. Right, exactly. That's what I was going to allude to. But then what are you doing? What are you doing to Garrett Green when you do that? But at the same time, what are you doing to Nico when you're leaving him on the sideline and he's sitting there going, man, that guy was open and Garrett didn't catch him. Oh, man, Garrett should have took off running there. And he knows this, and you're not putting him in the game. What are you doing to Nico? So it's a two-way street there, right? So you have to look at it that way. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Everyone have a great night. Tune in to Shane tomorrow night right here on this channel at 8 o'clock for another West Virginia Mountaineer show. Y'all have a great night. See you later.